How's it going, everyone? It's Daikin here, bringing you another Persona 4 Arena Ultimax video. And today we're going to be going over all the status effects in the game. Now, there's a total of about 8 or 9 if you consider the actual negative penalty. And we're going to be going over each and every one of them, exactly what they do and how to play around them. Before we actually get started here, just want to say thank you for all the support you guys have been giving me lately. Definitely appreciate it here on the channel. If you do like these type of videos or you want to see more Persona videos, anything you guys want to see, let me know down in the comments below. And like this video to let me know that you guys want me to continue to make Persona 4 Arena Ultimax videos. Definitely happy to do so. Now, some of you may be sitting here and wondering, what the heck am I talking about? What do I mean by status effects in this game? Why is there even status effects in a fighting game? What the hell is even that? Well, if you did not know, this game is actually based on an RPG. Wow, big shocker, right? You didn't know that one, huh? Anyway, because of this, Atlas thought it would be a cool idea to put status effects in the game, so when characters actually do things, you get things like shock state, or you get other things like poison attacks and stuff like that. So these are the status effects we're going to be talking about that are inside this game. We got everything from shock to freeze to poison to confuse. We got all of it. So we're going to talk about all of these and break down exactly how they work. So the first two status elements that we're going to be working with here are going to be poison and shock. So we're going to be going over poison first and shock right after that. So we're going to be using Yosuke for the actual poison. Now, each character has their own bit of status elements that they can actually inflict on the opponent. So Yosuke is just the example for this one. However, there's much other characters that can actually do this. Yosuke is just one. Teddy could do it. Elizabeth could do it. So there's a couple of characters that can do poison. He's just the one we're using for the example. So just keep that in mind. So poison is pretty much going to be what you expect. It does a bit of damage over time. So if we do Yosuke's throw, it actually inflicts poison. And as you see, it does a couple of ticks of poison here. So there's like a heartbeat sound that you hear. I don't know if you guys can actually hear, but it's a heartbeat sound, and it actually does 2 ticks of the person's health. So it uses a small amount of health that they actually lose. I forget the actual percentage, but the cool thing about this is it actually goes through the awakening state. So what we talked about last time you watched the last video, awakening is something within the game that gives you a defense boost at a certain level or say certain HP. So once you get to 30% HP, you get access to awakening. So as you can see, Akihiko is now in awakening state, and if we throw him now, you can see the poison still do the same amount of damage per tick that it would normally do. So it goes through the awakening state. It does not get reduced even though the opponent is awakening. So this is very good to keep in mind when you're trying to chip down your opponent's life, and poison can be something that can definitely help out when it comes to combo damage, trying to kill a person when they're in awakening, or just getting their health down a little bit lower than normal. Now, the last thing to know about poison is it goes off at a certain time, as you see. So it does a few ticks and then it actually just goes off the opponent. There is another way, however, to get this off, and that is to attack the enemy. So if you do get attacked before then, they can basically get the status element off of them before it actually does the ticks, or before it does all the ticks. And this is going to be something that you're going to see in a lot of these, so just keep that in mind. Now, talking about shock state, Akihiko has a super where he powers up and he becomes like electric, and any attack from his fist will put you in the shock state. So when you are actually in shock state, you cannot move. And by movement, I mean anything that is like left, back, forward, jump, air dash. You can't do those type of movements. However, you're not limited to every movement type that you can do. You see, I can't move around. There's nothing that really happens. I'm moving, I'm trying to move, nothing's happening. But you can use the universal movement. So you can still do short hops, you can still do evasive dash, and you can still attack. I see a lot of people that just sit here because they're trying to move, but you can still attack. And once again, like the other styles of it, if you happen to hit the enemy, then you could get it off of you. So this is going to be something that is very crucial for when you're doing this, is knowing that you still have access to your buttons. So if they like do something and you're like shocked and you're like full screen away, if you have like a persona attack or attack that moves you forward, that's pretty good. You could try to use that to try to hit the opponent to get you out of that state before they actually get close and try to mix you up or something. So the next status effect that we're going to be talking about is going to be panic or confused. So we're going to be using Misudu for this example. So if she does her attack here, this low attack, this is going to put you in the panic or confused state, as some people call it. So this is going to make it to where your left is going to be your right and your right is going to be your left as far as your inputs go. Now, they did nerf this a bit because it used to be able to be crossed up, but now with the way it worked, it actually disables people from being able to do cross up. So you are cross up protection. You can block literally both ways. It doesn't matter. You can walk forward towards them and it will still give you a block. So I believe it's slightly nerfed because of that. I don't really know the actual benefit of it anymore because of this change in 2.5, but that is a change that's for this now. So as you can see, Misudu is going to confuse me. I'm going to walk straight at her and I'm still going to be able to block it just like that. So I'm walking straight at her and I'm able to block the attack. That is how it's basically working now. Now you still have to worry about high and low, but as far as left, right, you just have auto protection now. That is the change. So it doesn't seem as scary as it used to be. If anybody know a benefit to this change, please let me know, because I honestly can't see it at the moment. And like the other ones we talked about so far, this one actually goes away if you hit the opponent, and it will go away after a certain amount of time as well. So now it's time for things to get a little bit spooky, because now we're about to talk about the status effect of fear. So fear is going to be something that Elizabeth and a few other characters can do, like Naoto, but fear is going to be the one that is going to allow you to do fatal counters on any hit. So once you put them in fear state, any hit you do, no matter what it is, will give you a fatal counter. And because they have fear on, they also can no longer tech throws. So if you throw your opponent when they are in fear state, they can no longer tech it. This basically might as well just become a command grab at this point. So fear is a very strong one because of the fatal counter state and not being able to tech throws. Now, for you who don't know what Fatal actually does, Fatal is actually the strongest counter in the game. So there's two types of counter. There's just a normal counter hit where if a character does a button and you counter hit them, you'll get a counter hit like that. But a Fatal counter gives you even more hit stun to work with and more damage. So if you see when you do a normal hit, like if I press 5A, it's 200 damage. If I get a counter hit, so if I counter hit Mitsudo here, that does 220. However, if I happen to actually hit her with a Fatal counter, it will do 240. So the damage goes higher, you get more hit stun to work with, which means you can also do new combo routes that weren't available to you before, which is also going to give you even more damage opportunities. So it is a very scary thing to get hit by because of the damage output your opponents can do once they hit you with something like a fatal. And even a 5A fatal can definitely be, well, fatal, if you know what I mean. Much like all the other ones we talked about so far, fear is going to have a set time limit on it, or if you happen to get hit, it will go away as well. So you can fight back against it. Just keep in mind of the strong benefits that the opponent gets when you are in fear state. Next up, we're going to be talking about the mute status element, or what people like to call silence. So this is going to be the ability that is going to disable your persona abilities for the character. So we're going to do Naoto Super here, and this is actually going to disable all of the abilities. So I'm pressing the buttons. As you can see, I'm trying to press my persona buttons. Nothing's happening. Now I can get them back. Now, this is not only going to just be for attacks, but for supers as well. Now, the reason I want to talk about this one specifically alone is because Akihiko has a set of supers that don't use his persona, which is his uppercut. So as long as it doesn't use your persona, you can still do it. Also, when you are muted, it also gets rid of your burst. So if you notice, Akihiko can't burst because, well, when you burst, it actually uses your persona. So his other supers that uses persona, I can't do. Now, when it comes back, you can do it now because this attack actually uses the persona. But any attacks you have that for your character that doesn't use the persona, you can still do outside of the state. So maybe you land a hit, or if you land a hit, well, then you'll just get out of the state. That is one of the ones that actually does that. So like all the other ones we talked about, if you hit them, it'll go away, and of course after a set period of time. But you get the idea. If you need to like bust out with a super or something, and maybe if that is your answer, you can still do that as long as it doesn't use your persona. Now, Mitsudo is actually getting a lot of love in this video because she actually has 3 of the status elements that we're going to be talking about. And of course, the next 2 is going to be Charm and Freeze. So she had both of these. So next up is we're going to talk about is definitely going to be Charm. So Charm is going to be the one that drains SP from your opponent. So this is going to allow you to get more meters. So this actually drains 4 SP for each tick that it does. So this is an old game, so there's no real way to actually show this like correctly, because there's no way to like make it to where the opponent can like sort of lose their meter. But you can see it sort of like is like glitching, where it's like staying at 50 but it's trying to move past 50. Basically, for every tick you gain 4 and they will lose that 4 amount. Now if they have no meter, of course they'll just lose no meter, but you will still gain your meter. So if we go back, you'll see the amount of ticks that it does right here. So it does like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you get 5 ticks. So 4 times 5, obviously, if you're good at math, that's 20. So 20 meter for doing the charm right there. And of course, like all the other ones that we talked about, it has a set time, which we just went over. And of course, if you hit them, then it would just go away right there. So you don't have to worry about them spinning your meter or them gaining any more meter. So as promised, the next status effect we're going to be talking about is Freeze. And Freeze as well, you're frozen. So you're going to be stuck here for a couple of seconds, and then you're going to break out the ice. Now you can actually break out the ice faster, and that is going to be by wiggling the stick back and forth. So you wiggle the stick back and forth, you'll hear a crack sound, and then it will get you out at the fastest possible moment. Now they made a new way for you to actually get out, and that is actually just going to be simply by just tapping a button. This is new to this version of the game. So you just press one button and you'll get out at the fastest moment. You see it like made all the sounds at one time. It's probably hard for you guys to hear, but trust me, you just tap one button, you hear that, and then bam, you get out. So if a character tries to do say a combo that's not real, maybe if I do something like this, now wait a second and try to do something like that, this won't work. You won't get hit by illegitimate combos anymore as long as you hold back for it like that. Now if the combo is still real, you will get hit. So if I do something like this and then the Misu does that, you see it's still a red combo. Well, even if I do try to get out of it, it will still happen. So even though I did it correctly, as long as the combo is still true, you'll always still get hit. Now there is a limitation on how the actual freeze system works, but that's going to like depend on the character. I believe it's like you can't do the same freeze move over in a combo for the freeze or something like that. Got to be like a different one. Misu has like her own special rules and stuff like that for her freeze and stuff, but yeah, pretty much that's all you really need to know about freeze. And finally, the last of the main status elements they're going to talk about here is going to be rage state, also known as berserk, and we're going to be using Teddy via his DP. Now this is going to be a status element that is going to disable you from blocking, but in exchange you get a 20% attack power increase. So we showcase this here with Teddy. I'm not going to be able to block, I'm going to be walking back and I get hit, as you can see. Now to showcase the power of actually how much damage you do, I'm going to do a simple combo here, just smash auto combo. Does 1368, as you see. Now if we do the actual rage state and we do the combo, 1638. So we got about 300 more damage there from the actual confirm because of the 20% increase. Now, like most of the other ones, with the exception of the free status element, this one does not go away on hit, obviously, because you're going to be getting this power buff that they want you to use in exchange for you not being able to block. So it's a double-edged sword status element. You can use it to your advantage, but just keep in mind you actually cannot block. One other small tidbit about this is it's not going to be as impressive as Fear because you can still tech throws. It's just simply not blocking. I thought I'd just throw that in there as well. Like most good old Arxis games, this is going to have the status element of negative penalty. So if you do too many defensive actions, the game will give you a warning, and then after that you'll go into the negative penalty state. Now negative penalty in this game, as far as I know, does not take your meter, but you do take 50% more damage. So whatever your opponent is dealing out to you, you will take 50% more than what they were normally originally going to do to you. So if we take this basic Marie combo here, it does 1290 damage. However, we put ourselves in negative penalty state, and this would do a considerable amount more damage. As you see, it did 1937 damage. So there's that extra 50% that they were talking about. So you definitely don't want to be too offensive in this game. You want to at least be doing some offensive options by either walking, running forward, jumping forward, or attacking. These are all things the games consider offensive. So mix and balance your actual defensive and offensive options so that you don't go inside the state and actually just get more damage on yourself. And that pretty much covers everything you need to know about status elements within Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Again, thank you all so much for the support. It's greatly appreciated. Again, let me know down in the comments below what other videos for Persona 4 Arena Ultimax you want to see. As always, if you like anything I have to say, drop me a like, greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, follow me on my socials. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn notifications so you know the next video goes live. As always, my name is Daikin, and I'll see you next time. Signing out.